when you were a kid, you ever went to camp? You are a kid. If you've ever been to camp. Okay? Good. Okay? Raise your hand if your mom or dad or aunt or something has ever referred to a vacation as a week at Camp Dorsley or a week at Camp Rogers. Okay? Sometimes people like to refer to, like, so I used to go when I was younger, one of my aunts and uncles, they had me, my sister and I came in and stayed with them for like a whole week, and they just spoiled us rotten, basically. Okay? But we could call it like Camp Aunt Linda or Camp Uncle Norman. They were Aunt Linda and Uncle Norman. Okay? So sometimes we refer to like a camp as a person hosting an event for a long period of time. Okay? So today our chapter is called Camp Lawrence. And we're going to see that Lori kind of throws a party and invites a bunch of friends, of which the girls are included. But basically, it's a party where they're all going to get together, and then they're going to kind of go downriver and have a picnic basically all day long and play games and things like that. Okay? Brian? So, my parents came from Camp Clausen. She is Camp Clausen? Yeah. Makes sense. Matthew?
So whenever I heard the Camp Lawrence, I got confused, and I thought that they were referring that they were going to a camp with Lori.
No. He's hosting it. All right, chapter 12, Camp Lawrence. Beth was postmistress and dearly liked the daily task of unlocking the little door and distributing the mail. One July day she came in with her hands full and went about the house leaving letters and parcels like the penny post. "Here's your posy, Mother. Lori never forgets that," she said, putting the fresh flower in Marmy's vase. "Miss Meg March, you have one letter and a glove," continued Beth, delivering the articles to her sister, who sat stitching wristbands. "Why, I left a pair of gloves over there, but here is only one," said Meg. "Oh, never mind. I guess the other may be found. Well, my letter is only a translation of the German song I wanted. I think Mr. Brooke," which is Lori's tutor, "I think Mr. Brooke did it, for this isn't Lori's handwriting." Okay, pause. Where is Beth getting all these little things that she's kind of delivering to everyone? The PO. Very good. The secret mailbox between the two houses. Mrs. March glanced at Meg, who was looking very pretty in her morning gown and very womanly as she sat sewing at her little work table and singing. Her thoughts were busied with innocent girlish fancies, and Mrs. March smiled and was satisfied. 2 letters for Dr. Joe, a book, and a funny old hat, which actually covered the whole post office and stuck outside of it, said Beth, laughing as she went into the study where Joe sat writing. "What a sly fellow Lori is! I said one day that I wished bigger hats were the fashion, because I burn my face every hot day. He said, 'Why mind what the fashion is? Wear a big hat and be comfortable.' I said I would wear one if I had one, and he has sent me this to try me. I'll wear it for fun and show him that I don't care for fashion." And hanging the broad-brimmed hat on a bust, Joe read her letters. Why did Lori send her a hat? Amy? Yes, but was it in fashion then? No, it was not the proper thing for a lady to wear a big hat. So, and Joe said, "So I don't care if it's in fashion or proper or not. I'd wear one. I just don't have one." So Lori's like, "I'm going to see if she actually will wear one." So he buys her a big hat and sends it to her to see if she'll wear it, even though it's very much not in style right now. One of the letters from her mother made her eyes fill with tears, for it reassured her that her efforts to tame her temper had been noticed, and they were progressing nicely. Those few words of love and encouragement from Marmee were worth millions of money to Joe. Okay, what is Marmee's letter about? What is Marmee's letter to Joe? What does it say? What's it about? Layla? Very good. Encouraging her that she's doing a good job handling her temper. Oh, Marmee, I do try, but I will keep on trying since I have you to help me. Feeling stronger than ever, she pinned the note inside her frock as a shield and a reminder. Her other letter was written in Laurie's big, dashing hand. Dear Joe, what ho! Some English girls and boys are coming to see me tomorrow, and I want to have a jolly old time. If it's fine weather, I'm going to pitch my tent in Long Meadow and row up the whole crew to lunch and croquet and all sorts of larks. What is croquet?
Oh,
Jacob?
it's a game where you use a big mallet to the ball to, I don't know what to call it.
Wicket.
Wicket.
Mhm.
You have to try to go to a big metal stick.
Very good. It's like kind of an old-time version of golf. Okay? Maybe more like putt-putt. These are nice people, and they like such things. Brooke will go to keep us boys steady, and Kate Vaughn is coming to look after the girls. So Mr. Brooke is going basically as like the boy chaperone, and a girl named Kate Vaughn is an older girl. She's going as the girl chaperone to kind of make sure they can't send the kids by themselves, basically. I want you all to come. Can't let Beth off at any price, and nobody will worry her. I'll see to everything. Only do come, there's a good fellow. In a tearing hurry, yours ever, Lori. Okay? So all the girls have been invited to this picnic that Lori is hosting. Oh, here's some richness, cried Joe, flying in to tell the news to Meg. Of course we can go, right, Mother? It will be such a help to Lori, for we will all be useful in some way. I hope the Vaughns are not fine, grown-up kind of people. Do you know anything about them, Joe? Said Meg. Well, only that there's 4 of them. Kate is actually older than you. Fred and Frank are twins, about my age. And there's a little girl, Grace, who's 9 or 10. Lori knew them abroad and liked the boys. I fancied from the way he primmed up his mouth in speaking about her that he didn't really admire Kate so much. Oh, I'm so glad that my French print is clean. It's just the thing to wear and so becoming, observed Meg complacently. Have you anything decent to wear, Joe? I got that scarlet and gray boating suit. That's good enough for me. I shall row and tramp about, so I don't want any starch to think of. You're gonna come, right, Bethy? Oh, only if you won't let any boys talk to me, replied Beth. Not a boy, teased Joe. Okay, well, I like to please Lori, and I'm not afraid of Mr. Brooke because he is so kind. But I don't want to play or sing or say anything. I'll work hard and not trouble anyone. And you'll take care of me, Joe, so I'll go. That's my good girl. You do try to fight off your shyness, and I love you for it. Fighting faults isn't easy, as I know, and a cheery word kind of gives a lift. Thank you, Mother. And Joe gave the thin-cheeked grateful kiss, more precious to Mrs. March than if it had given back the rosy roundness of her youth. I had a box of chocolate drops and a picture I wanted to copy, said Amy, showing her mail. And I got a note from Mr. Lawrence, asking me to come over and play for him tonight, before the lamps are lighted. And I shall go, added Beth, whose friendship with the old gentleman prospered finely. What does Mr. Lawrence want her to play? Connor? Now, let's fly around and do double duty today so that we can play tomorrow with free minds, said Joe, preparing to replace her pen with the broom. The sun peeped into the girls' room early the next morning to promise them a fine weather day. Sunshine and laughter were good omens for a pleasure party, and soon a lively bustle began in both houses. Beth, who was ready first, kept reporting what went on next door, and enlivened her sister's toilets by frequent telegrams from the window. Not toilet like what you're thinking of, okay? What does it mean by toilet? Matthew?
The act or process of dressing and grooming oneself.
Okay? So the whole time they're getting ready to think, oh, they're here. Oh, they're packing the lunch. Oh, and they're bringing all this fun stuff. Hurry up, guys. She's kind of like saying everything she's seeing happening next door as they're getting ready for this party. Oh, there goes the man with the tent. Oh, I see Mrs. Barker doing up the lunch in a hamper in a great basket. Oh, there's Lori looking like a nice, looking like a sailor. What a nice boy. Oh, mercy me. There's a carriage full of people. Tall lady, looks like a little girl, and two dreadful boys. One is lame, poor thing. He's got a crutch. Lori didn't tell us about that. Oh, be quick, girls. It's getting late. Oh, why, there is Ned Moffat, I do declare. Meg, isn't that the man who bowed to you one day when we were out shopping? Huh, so it is. I thought he was at the mountains. And there's Sally. Oh, I'm glad you got back in time to go. Do I look all right, Joe? Cried Meg in a flutter. Oh, a regular daisy. Now, come on. She's like, yeah, sure, you look fine. Oh, Joe, you are not going to wear that awful hat, are you? It's too absurd. You shall not make a guy of yourself today. What does she mean by make a guy of yourself? Brian? You would think, but what does it say down there at the bottom? What does guy mean? You're not on the page? Okay. What does guy mean? Chloe?
Guy means British.
Yes. She's like, please don't make fun of yourself today. Like, we're gonna go be with people. Just be on your best behavior, okay? Oh wait, no. Scolded Meg as Joe tied down with a red ribbon this broad-trimmed, old-fashioned hat that Lori had sent for a joke. Oh, I just will, though, for it's capital. It's so shady and light and big. It will make a lot of fun, and I don't mind being a guy if I'm comfortable. With that, Joe marched straight away, and the rest followed. A bright little band of sisters, all looking their best in summer suits, with happy faces under their hat brims. Okay? So, again, we're seeing kind of the difference between Joe and Meg. Meg says, Joe, you cannot wear that. And Joe's like, yeah, I can, and I'm going to. I don't care what they think. It may look ridiculous, but number one, it will provide some fun. Like, I'm going to make people laugh, and that will help us kind of all get along. And then second of all, it actually shades the sun very nicely, so I'm going to wear it. Thank you very much. Lori ran to meet and present them to his friends in the most cordial manner. Meg was grateful to see that Miss Kate, even though she was 20, was dressed with elegant simplicity. Joe, however, understood why Lori didn't fancy Kate, for that young lady had kind of a standoff, don't touch me air, which contrasted strongly with the free and easy demeanor of the other girls. She's a little more stuck up than the rest. Beth decided that Frank, the lame boy, was not actually dreadful, but gentle, and she would be kind to him on that account. Amy found Grace a well-mannered, merry little person, and they soon became very good friends. Tents, lunch, and croquet utensils having been sent on beforehand, the party boarded and the two boats pushed off together. Lori and Joe rowed one boat, Mr. Brooke and Ned rowed the other. Joe's funny hat actually deserved a vote of thanks, for it broke the ice in the beginning by producing a laugh. It created quite a refreshing breeze, flapping to and fro as she rowed, and would make an excellent umbrella for the whole party, if a shower came up, she said. Miss Kate decided that Joe was, odd, but rather clever, and smiled upon her from afar. Do you think Miss Kate was jealous of Joe? No, she very much disapproved of Joe's boyish, ridiculous, silly nature, but had to admit she was kind of funny. Meg in the other boat was delightfully situated face to face with the rowers, who both manned their oars with uncommon skill and dexterity. Okay? So, what you have to understand, skill and dexterity is talking about their skill of rowing. Now, they're not normally good rowers, but both Ned and Mr. Brooke are rowing as best as they can now. Why? Micah? To impress who? Who's riding in their boat? Who's sitting face to face across from them? Meg. Okay? So she's in the other boat with Ned and Mr. Brooke, and both of them are all of a sudden rowing as best they can. Trying to impress Meg. Mr. Brooke was a grave, silent young man with handsome brown eyes and a pleasant voice. Meg liked his quiet manners and his wealth of useful knowledge. He never talked to her much, but he looked at her a good deal. Ned, being in college, put on all sorts of airs. Remember, we've met Ned before. He was the one at the Moffats party that was kind of encouraging her to drink more champagne and things like that. Not a nice guy. He was not very wise, but very good-natured, and altogether an excellent person to carry on a picnic. Sally Gardner chatted with Fred, who kept Beth in constant terror by his pranks. Rude little boy. It wasn't far to Longmeadow, but the tent was already pitched on a pleasant green field, with 3 wide-spreading oaks in the middle and a smooth strip of turf for croquet. "Welcome to Camp Lawrence," said the young host, as they landed with exclamations of delight. "Now, let's have a game of croquet before it gets hot, and then we'll see about dinner." Frank, Beth, Amy, and Grace sat down to watch the game played by the other 8. Mr. Brooke chose Meg, Kate, and Fred. Laurie took Sally, Joe, and Ned. The English played very well, but the Americans played better and contested every inch of the ground as strongly as if the spirit of '76 inspired them. I think what the author trying to get at here, between the Americans and the British, they were playing almost as kind of representing the rivalry between the two countries in the Revolutionary War. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So it was like the Englishmen versus the Americans. Fred's ball had stopped. Oh no. Joe and Fred had several skirmishes or arguments basically, and one time narrowly escaped high words, meaning she was getting kind of frustrated with Ned. They're both being super competitive, and she about blew up on him at one point, but didn't. Fred's ball had stopped an inch on the wrong side of a wicket, and thinking that no one else could see, he gave it a sly nudge with his toe, which put it just an inch onto the right side. Okay? Is it fair to take a ball in golf or putt-putt or even croquet and kick it with your foot a little bit? No, that's cheating. Okay? You can't do it. You're supposed to only touch it on your turn when it's kind of like if you had the football in the line of scrimmage, and then when the ref's not looking, you kind of take it forward a little bit to get a few more yards. Okay? That's cheating, right? Okay? That's exactly what Fred did. He thought no one saw him do that, but Joe did. But Fred says, "Oh, I made it. I'm through. Now, Miss Joe, I'll settle you and get into first place," cried the young gentleman, swinging his mallet for another blow. No. You pushed it. I saw you. It's my turn now," said Joe sharply. Upon my word, I didn't move it. It rolled a bit, perhaps, but that is allowed. So, stand off, please, and let me have a go at the stake. "Well, we don't cheat in America, but you can if you choose," said Joe angrily. "Woo! Yankees are a deal the most tricky. Everybody knows that." "There you go," returned Fred, croqueting her ball far away. Okay, so he's like, they're arguing back and forth, right? Okay, he kicks his ball. She's like, "Whoa, whoa, I saw you. It's my turn now. He's like, no, it's not. She's like, we don't cheat in America, but you can if you want to. He's like, fine. And he takes his mallet and hits her ball way off in the distance. Okay? Not even legal, okay? But definitely messing her up and definitely just to get her angry. Jo opened her lips to say something rude, but checked herself just in time and stood a minute, hammering down a wicket with all her might, while Fred hit the stake and declared himself out with much exultation. Why is she hammering down the stake with all her might? The wicket, sorry. The wicket is like this little fence thing that's fixed in the ground, and she's hammering it down all her might. Why? Brian?
It gets small enough to get the ball. Hits it.
You would think, but not quite. There's a reason why she's hammering it down with all her might. Brooklyn?
Oh, I know why. He's mad, and if you like, sometimes when I'm mad, I like use my hand.
Uh-huh.
And be like, do that.
Or, have you ever gone to your room to punch the pillow so that you don't hit somebody else? Okay? That's kind of what Jo is doing. She's taking it out on the wicket so that she won't take it out on Fred. And in the meantime, because he cheated, Fred hits the stake and wins. Okay? She went off to get her ball and was a long time finding it among the bushes. But she came back looking cool and quiet and waited her turn patiently. Okay? Why did it take her so long to find her ball? Jacob?
Because Fred hit it so far that it hit one person.
Not quite.
Oh.
Why?
Because she was just going to walk.
Very good. It didn't take her that long to find the ball, but she had to give herself time to cool down and get her anger back under control before she came back, or she knew she was going to do something she would regret. It took several strokes from her to regain the place she had lost, and when she got there, the other side had nearly won, for Kate's was the last ball. Okay, so the way croquet works, apparently, is you play in teams. Okay, so yes, each individual person is in charge of taking care of their ball and getting through the wickets into the stake. But whichever team finishes first is the true winner. Okay, so Fred had gotten through and beat Jo, but the team match had not been decided yet. Does that make sense? So Kate on the other team was the last one. She was about to finish. Well, it's all up to us. Goodbye, Kate. Miss Jo owes me one, so you are finished, cried Fred excitedly, as they all drew near to see the finish. Yankees have a trick of being generous to their enemies, said Jo, with a look that made the lad redden, especially when they beat them, she added, as, leaving Kate's ball untouched, she won the game by a clever stroke. Okay? So, she kind of is like, here's the other team's ball, here's hers. Okay? She had to make a really good shot in order to beat Kate's ball. If she didn't, Kate would have scored the very next stroke. Okay? And Fred's like, oh, don't worry, Kate. She's gonna mess up. We've won this already. Don't even worry about it. And Jo said, remember how we called her Yankees before? Okay? She said, Yankees have a trick of being generous to their enemies. Even, what did she say? Especially when they beat them. And she nails this super awesome hit and ends up winning the game. So even though Fred cheated, she still was able to come back and beat him and teach him a lesson. Yeah.
So this morning, my sister, Noah, she got mad at me this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes whenever she's mad, she literally just grabs you by your like wrist, and she just starts shaking me around. She does it a lot whenever she's mad at me. And this morning, she grabbed my wrist and she made me punch myself in my eye. And my dad says I can't hit her back, so I'm just defenseless. I'm just like.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, let's finish up. Miss Kate. Okay? And as they kind of keep going, Miss Kate Mr. Brooke is trying to get Meg's attention, trying to help Meg feel better. But the whole time, Miss Kate is just saying, "Oh, here, I'll show you. Oh, here, let me do it. Oh, here, I'm really good at this." But Mr. Brooke does not care. He wants to hear Meg do it. Okay, so he keeps kind of ignoring Meg. Okay, but giving the book to or ignoring Kate, sorry, and keeps giving the book to Meg, trying to kind of get her involved in the conversation. And Mary is over here like, or Mary, Kate is over here like, "Hey, like focus on me, like give me attention. I think you're kind of cute," kind of thing. Does that make sense? Okay, but he's kind of ignoring Kate's advances and turning more to Meg. Does that make sense? I know I messed all that up. Meg, following the long grass blade that her new tutor used to point with, read slowly and timidly, unconsciously making poetry of the hard words by the soft intonation of her musical voice. Presently, forgetting her listener and the beauty of the sad scene, Meg read as if she was alone, giving a little touch of tragedy to the words of the unhappy queen. If she had seen Mr. Brooke's brown eyes then, she would have stopped short, but she never looked up. "Very well indeed," said Mr. Brooke as she paused, quite ignoring her many mistakes, and looking as if she did indeed love to teach. Miss Kate put up her glass, and having taken a survey of the little scene before her, shut her sketchbook, saying with condescension, "Well, you've got a nice little accent, and in time will be a clever reader. But I must look after Grace, for she is romping." And Miss Kate strolled away, adding to herself with a shrug, "What odd people these Yankees are. I'm afraid Laurie will be quite spoiled among them." Okay, so here's what happened. You have Mr. Brooke, and you have Meg, and you have Miss Kate. Okay, Mr. Brooke is trying to get Meg to read the book, and Meg's like, "No, I can't. I'm a little scared." And Miss Kate says, "Oh, here, I'll do it." Reads. Reads perfectly. Wasn't that so great? And Mr. Brooke says, "Yeah, but I kind of want Meg to try." And Miss Kate's like, "But I just read it perfectly. I want you to pay attention to me, okay?" And Meg is like, "Okay." And she begins to read. And Mr. Brooke is just like enthralled with her. Wow, she's so pretty. She's reading it so well. He's only focused on her. And then you have the whole time Miss Kate over here is like, and eventually she walks away. Does that make more sense? Okay. "I forgot that English people rather turn up their noses at governesses, and they don't treat them as we do," said Meg, looking after the retreating figure with an annoyed expression. "There's no place like America for us workers, Miss Margaret." And Mr. Brooke looked so contented and cheerful that Meg was ashamed to lament her hard lot. They talked of teaching, and Mr. Brooke said he was able to enjoy it because he had such a talented pupil. "I shall be very sorry to lose him next year," said Mr. Brooke, busily punching holes in the turf. "Going to college, I suppose?" Meg's lips asked the question, but her eyes added, "And what becomes of you?" She's like, "If Laurie's going to go to school," guys, we're not leaving right now. "If Laurie's going to go to college, what are you going to do? You won't have a job, so what's your plan?" "Yes, and it's high time I went, for he," meaning Laurie, "is ready, and as soon as he is off, I shall turn to a soldier. I am needed." "Oh, I am glad of that," exclaimed Meg. "I should think every young man would want to go, though it is hard for the mothers and sisters who stay at home," she added sorrowfully. "Yeah, well, I have neither mothers nor sisters, and very few friends to care whether I live or die," said Mr. Brooke rather bitterly. "Well, Laurie and his grandfather would care a great deal, and we should all be very sorry to have any harm happen to you," said Meg heartily. "Well, thank you. That sounds pleasant," began Mr. Brooke, looking cheerful again. But before he could finish his speech, Ned, who was mounted on the old horse, came lumbering up to display his equestrian skill before the young ladies, and there was no more quiet that day, as the afternoon was taken up with riding and racing. An impromptu circus, fox and geese, and an amicable game of croquet finished the afternoon. At sunset the tent was struck, Hampers packed, wickers pulled up, boats loaded, and the whole party floated down the river, singing at the tops of their voices. Ned tried to sing a serenade for Meg, but he looked so sentimental that she couldn't hold back her laughter. Ned was offended and turned to his sister Sally for consolation, saying to her rather pettishly, "There isn't a bit of flirt in that girl, is there?" The whole time Ned had been trying to flirt with Meg and get her to like him. But every time he tried, all Meg could do was laugh. Okay? He was trying to sing her a song to impress her, and all she did was laugh. He's like, forget it. There is not a particle of flirt, but she is a dear, returned Sally, defending her friend. On the lawn where it had gathered, the little party separated with cordial good nights and goodbyes. As the four sisters went home through the garden, Miss Kate looked after them, saying, without the patronizing tone in her voice, "You know, in spite of their demonstrative manners, American girls are very nice when one knows them." "I quite agree with you," said Mr.
She
Brooke.
got a crush.
Who does Mr. Brooke have a crush on?
Meg.